This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good morning. Let me know if I'm too loud. I could be. As Patty said, my full name is Aynaz Annie Cyrus. I was born and raised in Islamic Republic of Iran. Very important, don't ever say Iran by itself. Iran used to be Persia, Persian Empire. And then it got invaded by Muslims. And it shrunk into what you know Iran today. Then Iranian people took it back, fought years after years, Battle of Islam versus people of Iran until 1979. 1979, there was a revolution in Iran. Some of the Iranian people weren't happy with the Shah, or King of Iran, so they started a revolution. In the middle of it, a man named Ayatollah Khomeini came along and hijacked the whole thing. Invaded Iran again. And then it became Islamic Republic of Iran. Within 60 days, the constitution of country went 100% Sharia. And I mean 100%. When you open the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Iran, at the very top it says, this constitution has been taken from words of Allah, Quran, life of Muhammad, Sunnah, and words of testimony to Muhammad's life, Hadith. Everything within is Islamic. I was born after the revolution, so Sharia applied to me. I was also blessed to be born into a sheikh father, which is a step higher than imam, and a mother who taught Quran, and also she went to different classes teaching women how to be an obeying Muslim wife. So outside, I dealt with government that was Islamic. Inside, I dealt with my father, who was a sheikh. I was about age 7, close to 7, excited to go to school. And one day, my mom came with this white thingy, and is like, put this on your head. Like, what is that? Your hijab. I'm like, wait, you said I don't have to wear it until I'm 9. It's like, well, you start wearing it so you get used to it. So by 9, you master how to wear the hijab. Okay. So they put it on me. It's like a, it's pretty much like a bag down to your chest, and then your face just shows. And mine was white. And the first day of school, they took me to school, and as we're going, I see all these boys walking on the street going to school, same age as me. And I'm like, question, Dad, why are they not wearing the hijab? I went to school with a bruised eye. That was my answer. And that's the thing. Under Sharia, you don't get to ask questions, especially if you're a woman. You don't. Because if you do, you have questioned Allah, and that counts as one of the capital crimes. So you're punishable by death. So you don't ask questions. Back then I didn't know, so I did. Luckily, my father continued just beating me instead of killing me. So fast forward to age 9. I went to school one day and they gave me this really fancy invitation card to take home. So I took it home, and it was an invitation for my family and myself to what is called as requirement day. Any girl who turns 9 under Sharia is officially an adult woman. You are responsible for your actions. You will pay consequences for your action. You will follow Muhammad, and you will die in the name of Allah. And on top of that, if your father decides to do so, you will be given to marriage. Now, I actually don't normally do this, but this time I decided to do so, just in case if 1 in a million, anybody here or anyone who watches that video later might think that, Islamic Republic of Iran has all these crazy mullahs who are just extremists. I actually want to read a couple of things to you. And just bear with the accent and tripping over words, but I get there. So, if you look at the Civil Code of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Book 10, Chapter 1, it says, Article 1210, no one when reaching the age of majority, can be treated as under disability in respect of insanity or immaturity, unless his or her immaturity or insanity is proved. Note 1. The age of majority for boys is 15 years and for girls, 9 years. Then, in Quran, by the way, when it says majority, it means when you're mature, when you're an adult. So there's no 18. 9 girls, 15 boys. Now, a lot of you probably heard that Muhammad had a wife named Aisha. 6 years old, Muhammad married her, but didn't consummate the marriage until 9. A lot of Muslims will argue with you that that's Sharia. It has nothing to do with Quran. It has nothing to do with Islam, because the new method is Islam was hijacked into Sharia, right? So let's go to 4th Surah of Quran, verse 3. It says, if you fear that you will not deal fairly with an infant girl, you may marry whichever other woman seem good to you. 2, 3, or 4. If you fear that you cannot be fair to them, then marry only one, or your sex slaves. That is more likely to make you avoid bias. Now, I'm not going to elaborate on this. I let Aisha herself elaborate. There's a hadith on Sahih al-Bukhari. She can confirm that Sahih al-Bukhari is the only hadith book confirmed by all leaders of Islam to be accurate. Has not been hijacked yet. So on Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 7, Book of Marriage, which is book 62, the second hadith says, narrated by Yursa. Yursa was Aisha's nephew. So Yursa asked Aisha about the statement of Allah on chapter 4, verse 3. What does Allah mean? So Aisha said, "Oh, my nephew, this verse has been revealed in connection with an orphan girl or under the guardianship of her guardian who's attracted to her by her wealth and or beauty and intends to marry her with mehr. Mehr is a marriage gift. So if the guardian decide to pay less mehr to the infant, that is not treating her fairly. He can only marry the infant girl if he's willing to pay her the same gift money as an adult woman, which is 9 years. So did we establish the fact that in Quran, it's approved by Allah that you can marry an infant girl? Would you all agree with that? And to make it worse, that infant girl can actually be your adopted daughter. So, just to make sure, Civil Code of Islamic Republic of Iran matches Quran, which matches a hadith. My father, being a good Muslim, a sheikh, a leader, who everybody looked up to him, decided to take on this order and sell me off to marriage. I was at the end of my 13, getting close to my 14 when he sold me to marriage. And I tried to talk him out of it, you know, crying, begging, whatever you do as a kid. He didn't care, he didn't answer, and he wasn't going to change his mind. So I tried to take things, you know, to my hand. I'm like, you know what? If I go to police and say my dad is trying to sell me, they will make it, you know, stop. So I did that. I tried to save myself through our legal system. And I faced this. The Civil Code of Islamic Republic of Iran, Book 7, Chapter 2. Article 1041 says, marriage before the age of majority, 9 years, is prohibited. Note, marriage before puberty by the permission of the guardian and on condition of taking into consideration the ward's interest is proper. So pretty much the police told me, your dad is not doing anything wrong. And since you came here without your father's authorization, well, we have to put you in jail. So I spent 48 hours in detention center. Luckily, my father was in a good mood because he was about to receive good money and some usage of a full month of opium. So he didn't put in more complaint. If he did, I could actually be punished with 75 lashes. But okay, lucky me, he didn't. Now I'm gonna stop here, and I want you to realize, Ainaz Annie Cyrus managed to escape somehow, made her way to America, the free land, and became a proud American citizen, learned the language as best as she could, started having a career. But actually, Islamic Republic of Iran has close to 79 million population. Something average of 6 to 7 million underage girls in Islamic Republic of Iran. Every single one of them living on the dad code, meaning every single one of them could be sold to marriage and be raped by the man who bought them. Because after age of 9, you can consummate the marriage. Now let's go all the way from Iran to America. Sharia overrides all laws, including our constitution, including any rule and regulation in this country. So every time you pass by a Muslim family and they have a little girl, you need to look at it and say, what do I do about it? Because she may not speak English. She might have just got here yesterday, but she's a human. And if you're willing to pass by, either thinking they're moderate, or thinking, I don't want to be labeled a racist, which I don't understand it because Islam is not a race. Or you want to just say, hey, they're going to hate me and get me in trouble. All those reasons, to me, are not reasons. They're excuse. Because no matter how you look at life, beyond borders, at the end of the day, we're all human. And number one duty of a human is to care and love other human. Now, especially when it comes to little girls, there is absolutely no safety for girls or women under Sharia. Absolutely none. If we read the Quran, in Quran, Allah says, if you think, just think, you don't need proof, you don't need evidence. If you think your wife is going to disobey you, you will warn her, then you separate your bed or ignore her in bed, then you beat her until she obeys you. Simply, if she keeps on not obeying you, you beat her to death. There is no stopping it. And I was one of those women that could have been killed because this man would just beat me. You see this little thing? It's a memory of him. He would beat me, break a bone, leave the house, come back 48 hours later. I have so many disfigured bones in my body. They're still trying to discover what happened. And when I decided to go to the court and talk to a judge and try to get a divorce, I just said, this guy is going to end up killing me. And the judge looked at me in the eye, said, hey, young lady, you have got to start obeying him so he doesn't have to beat you. Fair enough. No, that is nowhere near being fair. My father wouldn't protect me. My mother didn't have the choice to protect me. Court wouldn't protect me. Police wouldn't protect me. And again, I want you to remember, there are so many other little Annie Cyruses left, not just in Iran. Pakistan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Palestine, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, all those Islamic countries. I believe 62 Islamic countries we have. You know how many women and girls are being attacked daily? And then again, let's go to America, let's go to Canada. Cases of honor killing, right? You bring shame to the family. Family has the right to kill you, father or brother. And it has been happening in America. Now I'm going to ask this question and I will literally wait for someone to answer me. What have you done regarding any of the honor killings that took place in America?
I asked a former captain on the police force here if we've ever had that problem here. And he looked, this was a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and he looked at me like I'd lost my ever-loving mind because he never heard of it. And he said, no, that's not a problem. And honestly, that's all I've done.
Okay.
At least I asked, you know?
You opened the conversation.
Yes, I tried.
This is where we have the problem. In the West, we're just not comfortable to open the conversation. I did, because I come from where no one, and I mean no one, gave a damn about me or my safety. Because I was a girl. I was a girl. And they have this holy book that tells them to treat me like a property. See, even on the verse that I read you, the only matter is the money. If you don't pay them fair money, then you can't marry them. It has nothing to do with the little girl being raped and possibly die of the intercourse. It's about how much you pay for them. Anybody who wants to argue with the fact that they make me feel like a property, here's a verse for you. Your Allah cares for one thing and one thing only: if you can get rich out of your girls. That's why I talk about it. But the point is, everybody in every single country needs to learn. You either stop it or you end up dead. And I don't understand the fact, over my dead body. Okay, why do you have to wait for them to get close enough to kill you and achieve their goal over your dead body? When we have people like Ainaz Zaini Cyrus, Sandra Solomon, Farah Prudence, Yusama Dakdok, all of us coming from Islamic country, all of us ex-Muslims saying the same thing. You have us, we're speaking. And don't take this as a complaint, but do you really think this is the best we could do for this gathering? Either we don't want to know about it because it makes us uncomfortable. You either go home feeling guilty because you have all this freedom and people like me went through what we went through, or you go home and you just can't sleep because you have this picture in your head. However, it's just uncomfortable, so let's not, what I don't know won't hurt me, right? Well, this time what you don't know will definitely hurt you, because that's Islam. They will come in. They find their way in. And when they do, when they grow enough in numbers, they will take over. Because their Allah has told them, the day of peace will arrive upon Muslims the day there are non-breathing non-Muslims in this earth. Meaning, convert all, kill the rest, then I give you peace. That's all there is to it. Moderate doesn't exist. Because in order to be moderate, you have to ignore the Quran. And the Quran says, any Muslim who questions my verses or doesn't follow my verses is punishable by death. So if you're a moderate Muslim, you're not a Muslim. There's just one type of Islam, one type of Muslim. And yes, I will stand by this statement. Every person calling themselves Muslim is responsible for what happened to me and to everybody else. You don't get to cherry pick your Quran, cherry pick your Hadith, and argue over the fact that Aisha was 6 or 9. Like, seriously, does that even matter? She was 6, she was 9, she was 10. Who cares? She was a girl. And then come tell me, I'm your nice, moderate Muslim friend or neighbor. And I'm sorry, but 99.9% of Westerners are buying into that. Oh, they're good people. What is so good about them? They believe in a prophet that was a murderer, was a nut job, pedophile, with absolutely not a single drop of humanity in him. And they believe in a law that calls them slaves. I always tell everybody, I know it takes time, but it's worth it. Read the Quran. You can't get through it. I have read the Quran fully over 40 times. I have. It was either, as I said, my mother, a Quran teacher. So at a school in Iran, 2nd grade, you start learning Arabic and Quran. So that's your homework, read the Quran. Then you come out, you're like, wait, what did I just run from? You grab a Quran, you're like, oh my God. And then you start speaking out, you have to know what you're talking about. I read this book over 40 times. And believe it or not, next time I read it, I will find something more disgusting about it. A lot of people come out and say, are you familiar with the two sides of Quran, the Medinan verses and the Meccan verses? So Muhammad started being the prophet without the prophecy in Mecca. And the whole Quran is 114 verses. So 87, not verses, sorry, surahs or chapters. 87 surahs were revealed to him in Mecca. Then this is a key part, he immigrated to Medina. The rest of 27 chapters were revealed to him in Medina. And a lot of people will tell you that, oh, the Meccan verses are all peaceful. The Medinan verses are what got all crazy. Oh, no. There is 20% of the Quran that you can say is peaceful and loving toward Allah, Muhammad, and your Muslim brother, not even your Muslim sister. There is not a single word in Quran that says, be nice to your Muslim sister. It says, if you kill a Muslim brother, then you have to be punished. And then on another verse, which I actually have here, it literally tells you that feel free to kill your Muslim wife. And that is, bear with me. Fourth Surah, verse 15, where it says, those who commit unlawful sexual intercourse of your woman, bring against them 4 witnesses from among you. And if they testify, confine the guilty woman to houses until death take them or Allah ordains for them another way. Correct me if I'm wrong, it takes 2 people to commit adultery. But in Quran, it says, put the woman to death. The man is okay. Only 20% of Quran will talk about being nice toward Allah, please Allah, you serve Allah, die in the name of Allah. And then respect Muhammad. Muhammad is the perfect example, and then be nice to your Muslim brother. 80% is kill them wherever you find them. Behead them wherever you find them. Lie to them to convert them to Islam. Make deals with them, and when you're good and your deal goes through, then kill them wherever you find them. Read the 9th surah of Quran. The entire thing about how to go into lands of non-Muslims, lie to them, make deals with them, convince them, then kill them, and turn that land into Islamic land. 9th surah of Quran. So again, you heard about all these things going on. You hear about the bombings, hear about the terrorism. This seminar is called International Terrorism Seminar, right? Normally, as soon as the word terrorism comes out, you think of bombings, mass shootings, right? Explosions, planes flying into buildings. When I hear that word, I remember my childhood. Terrorism doesn't necessarily have to be someone terrorizing other people. You can terrorize someone as a child by putting them through beating, prison time, rape, being a property, selling them to marriage. That will terrorize a person. somehow someone like me will be blessed to have a grandmother who's willing to risk her life to get me out of the country, and some people don't. And we just go on about our life. We hear it on the news, half-truths sometimes. Sometimes, let's make it clear, this had nothing to do with Islam. Okay. Actually, every time you hear that, I guarantee you, it had everything to do with Islam. We move on, we live life. I need you to realize, in America by itself, United States of America, the Islamization has gone up to 37%. This is based on reports by Islamic Republic of Iran. You're all worried about ISIS? Oh, you have no idea what Islamic Republic of Iran has planned for us. 38 years ago, when revolution happened, a lot happened with Iranian people, just like it's happening with Syrian people. Right now, we just, Obama opened the door. You're Syrian? Come on in. You're Syrian? Come on in. We have 1,200 Syrian refugees missing that we don't even know their names. We don't know their age. We don't have their fingerprints. Fantastic. 38 years ago, when the revolution in Iran happened, they opened the doors to a lot of Iranians. And what they didn't know is a lot of those Iranians are the seeds sent in by Khomeini. They had 38 years to grow roots in this country. Los Angeles, California is literally ran by Iranians. And if you talk to most of them, they don't want to talk. They don't care what's happening in Iran. They don't care who's killing who. They're just here doing their own business. And then you dig into their finances. You're like, where's your money going? Follow the money. It goes right back to Islamic Republic of Iran. Because the jihad word you hear isn't just the bombings, isn't just killing and beheading in American malls. You know, the stabbing, where again, media said, we don't know who he is. Well, honestly, if the guy's running with a knife, screaming Allahu Akbar, and stabbing you, it is a Muslim guy killing non-Muslims. It's either I'm a genius, or they just don't want to face it. There are other types of jihad. There are 4 different types of jihad in Islam. There is a jihad as the war, which Linda Sarsour likes to say, oh, it's just the inner struggle. I just need to make sure to get to the gym. No. Jihad means combat. It means war. There is no mention of get to the gym on time and eat healthy in the Quran, but there are many of them where it says behead them wherever you find them. And then there is financial jihad. Again in Quran, Allah says, those Muslims who stay home and not go to jihad for Allah are not my favorites. They're not going to receive the 7th level of heaven, which is just filled with virgins. If you stay at home and do not give your money for jihad in name of Allah, you're not a Muslim. Every single Muslim, including your nice, moderate, next-door Muslim, they pay a tax called zakat. They have to pay a tax. It's an Islamic tax, no way around it. And that zakat has to be paid, not through government, through mosques, to your local imam. And that local imam will decide what to do with the money. You want to take a wild guess where that money goes? To jihad. You name it. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood, CARE, Black Lives Matter. Just goes everywhere. So that nice neighbor is committing financial jihad. All those rich Iranians in LA that you can trace their money, it just doesn't look like it's here, they are committing financial jihad. And then there is social jihad. You come in, you become their friends. You use taqiyya. Taqiyya means deceive, meaning you lie to them. You can lie as far as telling them, I'm not even a Muslim. You become friend. Then, when you have your opportunity, you either convert them or kill them. And 8 out of 10 Syrian refugees coming in are here to commit their social jihad. Because seriously, have you noticed? Where are their wives and children? Where are their mothers? They left them behind to fight for them, and all these built, perfect shaped men are coming here scared? That's a little too much to sell. I mean, it's easy to sell it to Obama, you know. His hands in the same, you know, he's basically part of them. But what surprises me is the fact that we, the people, bought into it. Now, if you didn't, then what did you do about it? Nothing. So as they grow in numbers, as the terror gets higher, all sort of jihad is being committed in our country. We're just sitting there thinking, it's not going to happen here. I love our Second Amendment. I love shooting. But I'll tell you what, these gentlemen know better than I do. When a guy goes into a mall, pushes a button, by the time you reach your gun, your finger might be left on it, but that's all. He goes out, one Muslim, and he takes 58 with him. That's another way they're growing. You know, everybody's like, oh, they're growing because they keep having Muslim babies. No, they're growing because they send one Muslim to take out 100 of Americans, tilting the balance. But every time there's a terror attack, every time there's a jihad, every time there's a bombing, remember 9/11, September 11? For months, we were united. For months, everybody was doing something. Fast forward to the latest attack. Took us, what, 48 hours to forget? And get busy with NFL, they're not, you know, they're not standing. Okay, I get it, I hate it, it pisses me off. But do we really need to concentrate 100% on NFL right now? Do you really think ISIS, Islamic Republic of Iran, CAIR, Muslim Brotherhood are taking a break until we deal with the NFL issue? No, they're not. They will never take a break. So number one enemy right now against humanity is Islam. Not Sharia, not the Hadith, just Islam. Islam is the problem. And as long as we're not willing to face the fact that Islam is the problem, because teaching of Islam is hate. This so-called religion teaches every single father to hate their daughter with everything they've got. What part of it is so hard to understand? Why can't we just stand and say, hey, we live in a country where we cherish our daughters. If you can't keep up with that, get out. Because your daughter or mine doesn't matter. A girl is a girl. So if you're going to do any harm to your little girl, I will stand up for her. I've said it many times. You know, we get excited and we're like, burn all the mosques down. Why? Why do we want to do that? Why don't we walk in there and ask questions? If they don't let you in, you already have your answer. And legally, you can take action. If they do let you in, you can go in and you can ask questions. And as soon as you do that, again, you get your answer. You will realize as a non-believer, you're not welcome in their mosque. You will realize as a non-believer, they will not respect you. Let's not burn things down. Let's build things up. Meaning, let's build our country up. I love America. I guess I'm kind of telling that, right? I do. And I have I have said it, and I mean it. Until my very last breath, I will fight for this country. As long as I'm alive, I will keep saying Islam is the problem. But the problem is, first of all, I'm not loud enough. I mean, I am loud, but I'm not loud enough. Secondly, I come out, I say things, I bring verses, I bring civil codes, penal codes, all that codes, which, by the way, all of them are available online. All you need to do is Google Penal Code of Islamic Republic of Iran, Civil Code of Islamic Republic of Iran, Constitution of Islamic Republic of Iran. Go to Quran, Quran.com, click Sahih International Translation. Quran is right there. Yes, it's absolutely extremely sugar-coated, but you still get the message. I do all that. And when I say I mean people like me, Sandra, Farah, any ex-Muslim out there. But that goodness in every single American stop you from deeply believing it. I respect that. It's beautiful that you were born and raised in a country with freedom, with respect, with love. But I'm sorry, it's time to kind of sort of put that aside for now. Because your enemy comes from hate, absolutely no honor. I mean, imagine a society of Muslims, their honor lies between the legs of their daughters. You can reason with these people. You can't expect them to come in, sit down and have a conversation with you, because they're either lying or they're brainwashed beyond repair. I sometimes feel like I left Iran at age 15. I came to America when I was 18. I really sometimes feel like maybe if I would have spent a couple more years, I would just give in. I would just give in. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. That's the way life should be, and it doesn't matter how I feel. Now imagine all these big numbers coming in, the same mentality. Don't be afraid to walk into a hijab-wearing woman and ask them. Ask them, why do they wear the hijab? Don't be afraid to do that. Because a lot of them actually believe, based on Quran again, they believe that if they don't wear the hijab, they deserve to be raped. If you explain to them, if you let them know what this country stands for, you might actually save them. You could. I mean, necessarily they may not right away take their hijab off and start walking, because they need a plan, you know, exit the strategy. That's with Islam. When you decide to leave Islam, that you can't do it right away. You have to find your safe house, new identity, new town, a couple of bodyguards. Then you can leave Islam. And that's another problem with it. How do we call it a religion? There's no free will in that religion. In Iran, when I was born, they stamped my birth certificate as a Muslim. Very first thing I heard, and every single Iranian who was born after the revolution, as soon as the baby is born, the doctor or the father grabs the baby and whispers into her or his ear, Allahu Akbar. Brainwash starts right there and then. They don't even give you time to breathe and learn breathing and crying. The first thing you hear is about Allah. Did I have a choice? No. Then when I grew up at age 9, they didn't come to me and say, okay, would you like to take the Shahada or would you like to do something else? They dragged me in this white trash bag into this event. Mom crying, dad excited. I'm like, what are you excited about? They just told me I'm an adult woman. You're all happy? You're all proud? They just said, say the Shahada, which, by the way, I never did. It was a room full of little girls. Everybody's saying it loudly. Nobody noticed I'm going blah, 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 blah. So by definition, I'm not actually ex-Muslim. But by the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Iran, I am ex-Muslim because I was born in that country. And they stamped my birth certificate. It was so important for me that when I became a citizen, I made sure on my paperwork they put Zoroastrian, which is my ancient faith. And that was the only thing they couldn't take away from me because it was in my blood. So next time you go to talk about the religion, correct yourself. Either go religion or name it what it is, political ideology. Even in Islamic books itself, it doesn't say Islam is a religion. It actually says Islam is a complete guide of life. It tells you step by step how to live life. When you walk into a bathroom, actually there's a rule. Which foot to put in first. To that extent, they control your life. To this day, I don't sleep on my belly. I can't. Because in the school, my religion teacher, so the class is just so you have Arabic, you have Quran, and then you have Dini or Deen, which is religion. She came one day and said, okay, so today we're going to talk about those women who will end up committing zina, adultery. I'm like, what? We're psychic? Nope. Muhammad has said, those girls who sleep on their back will go to heaven. Those who sleep on their right side will commit minor sins. Those who sleep on their left side will commit sins. Those who sleep on their belly will commit zina. And in hell, they will hang them by their hair and pour hot water down their throat. Hey, I'm 8 years old. I'm 33, I still can't sleep on my belly. That's Islam for you. As a little kid, they scared the heck out of you. They just, like, imagine you're 8 and they're gonna pull your hair and hang you over there and pour hot water every day. I'm like, why? Because you're going to commit zina. Oh, okay. What if I don't? No, you will because you're sleeping on your belly. Okay. And then it goes further and further, you know. You walk this way, you're a sinner. You walk that way, you're a sinner. In Islamic Republic of Iran, when you buy a property, a land to build a house, when you have the blueprint, they have to give you approval on your toilet because it cannot possibly be built in a way when you're in the bathroom, your back is to Mecca. Are you kidding me? Like your Allah is so bored that he's sitting there just checking who's sitting back to him in the bathroom. It's a joke. I know. And there are so many things like that. At a school one day, I raised my hand and, you know, no offense, I love Arabic music. But you know, when something is forced upon you, you kind of start building this wall, and you just don't want to do it. I was like, you know, I'd rather start learning my Farsi and write Farsi and all that, and you're pushing me to start learning Arabic. So I raised my hand one day, I'm like, I have a question. So your Allah, and I literally said it this way, your Allah that created me is not bilingual? Only speaks Arabic? That definitely got me suspended from school. But that's the thing. One of the requirements as a Muslim, even if you're a convert Muslim, it's to learn Arabic. You have to say your prayer in Arabic. There is no translation for it. You have to face the Mecca. You have to say your prayer in Arabic. You have to learn all the words of, you know, Shahada and, you know, prayer sound, what is it, the call to prayer thing that they do, you know.
Adhan.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the English one, azan, but I don't know what's the English word for it. Call to prayer, let's call it that.
Yodeling.
Oh, is that what it is? Everything has to be in Arabic.
is the one where Obama said it is the most beautiful sound in the world.
Exactly. And that was the moment I realized this guy has absolutely no taste. And have you noticed, again, in New York, Washington, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, many other places, the mosques have these megaphones outside, and you have to hear it every single time at 5 o'clock in the morning, probably around 12:30 at noon, close to 3:30 afternoon, get close to 6:30, depends on the sundown. You have to hear it. Even if you're not a Muslim, you have to hear it. That's another system, you know. They think people who might think like Obama might actually fall in love with the sound of that and become a Muslim. But that's the thing, you have to learn Arabic. And they use that against a lot of people. You go to them and say, your Quran says that. They're like, you don't speak Arabic. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? When you don't know the real meaning of Arabic, you misunderstand Allah. And my response normally is like, okay, so I misunderstand your Allah if I don't speak Arabic, but your Allah is not going to misunderstand me if I'm speaking Farsi or English or any other language. That makes no sense. He's the one supposedly created me, so he should be everywhere and just hear me, whatever the language is. So these are the little things. You put them together, you come at them, and I'm like, you know what, this is absolutely not a religion. And based on that, we should stop saying, hey, our First Amendment, freedom of religion, we gotta respect their religion. It is not a religion. It's a cult, it's a death cult that is at war with human society. And imagine you just keep saying that to everybody. Even you walk to some random guy, don't be afraid to ask him, what do you think of Islam? Open the conversation. This conversation needs to be opened. Everybody needs to talk about it. Now, I'm not saying everybody should agree with me. I'm saying everybody should talk about it. Until at least 80% of us come to terms with the fact that this so-called religion is danger to us, to our country, to our constitution, to our children, the next generation. That's the first step. And in order to open the conversation, you need to be educated on the subject. And as I said, read the Quran. Don't even bother with the hadith and stuff like that. Because one, they can always say, hey, I don't follow Sharia. Which, by the way, it's impossible. As a Muslim, you have to follow Sharia. Not just Quran. Sharia, which is Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah. You have to follow all of them. In Quran, it says, and we sent you Muhammad, the perfect example of a man, so does what he did. Muhammad went and had, 11 wives. Okay, Muslim man can have 4, not 11. Muhammad had a child bride. You can have a child bride. Muhammad beheaded non-Muslims. You go and behead non-Muslims. That's just the way it is. Again, words of Allah himself. So as a Muslim, you have no choice but to follow the footstep of Muhammad. Muhammad was a very angry, evil guy. Again, I'm not saying that. Read it for yourself. You read his bio, the sugar-coated one that was like perfectly polished and put on Wikipedia or Google. You read that and you're like, what was wrong with this man?
Could he love one person? He even hated himself. He was so hateful that he even hated himself. So get educated. Read the Quran, read the Quran, read the Quran. Now, there are certain parts, for example, the 4th surah of Quran, it's called the woman. Read that one first. It has 176 verses. And as I said, the 3rd verse right there tells you, hey, if you're a guardian of an infant, fall in love with her, marry her. Just make sure to give enough money for her. From there, it goes on to where it tells you to count your daughter as half of your son. It tells you to beat your wife. It tells you to kill your wife if you see her with another man and you think she's willing to have sex with him. Kill her. in that position. It tells you in Quran, 4th Surah, that a testimony of a woman counts as half of a testimony of a man. And the same thing goes into to Civil Code of Islamic Republic of Iran. And because of that, I ended up taking 25 lashes at age 11. I got in a cab. Back seat was full, passengers, so I took the front seat, passenger side. People in the back started getting off. I didn't bother to switch seat. We got pulled over by the police, and they asked the driver, "Who am I?" to him. So, "Oh, we're just having a relation." They took us in, went to the court next morning. I stood there and said, "Your Honor, I was just a passenger in his car." Well, Your Honor said, "Can you bring another woman or man to come from your testimony?" I'm like, "No, we're alone in the car." It's like, "Well, then his testimony will override yours." 75 lashes. I managed to buy 50 of them and take 25 of them. Simple as that. 11 years old. That's what you're facing. I'm not trying to say be scared of them. I am. That's why I say Islamophobia doesn't exist. Because my fear of Islam, it is absolutely reasonable. They broke me. They beat me. They raped me. They took everything of me, including my dignity. I had to come to this beautiful country, build myself back up so I could fight them again. That is so not fair. And I know life isn't fair, but this is a little too much. I know you want to love everyone, and I know you want to see the good in people, and it's beautiful, but sometimes evil is there in many different forms. And this whole Islamic movement, the whole Islamization is as real as it gets. Brigitte Gabriel translated the entire plan of ISIS on Islamization of the West, specifically America. If you look up Islamic Republic of Iran Supreme Leader's speeches about America from 38 years ago, Khomeini died, Khomeini took power. Both of them said the same thing. Mission: wipe Israel off the map, turn America into Islamic land. 38 years, they've been saying it. They don't even try to hide it. And we just look the other way. So please, get educated. As disgusting, heartbreaking, and boring it could be, read the Quran. Read the Quran. That's the key to win this fight. When you know their verses, when they come to you and cite Quran and say, in Quran it says, if you kill a man, it's like you kill all man. Hold them right there and say, hey, first of all, that verse starts with Bani Israel. It starts with, oh people of Israel, if you kill a man. It doesn't say, oh people of Islam. That's a little itsy-bitsy word they drop out. But if you read the Quran, you would know. And then the verse right after that says, unless you killed the man, in the name of Allah. That's why you need to know the Quran. Because every time they cherry pick their verses to make you feel like they're all about peace, you can go back and remind them that you know what they're talking about and you're not going to buy into it. Gradually, we become louder than them. Instead of having 5 million women marching the streets with Linda Sarsour in support of Sharia and supporting her oppression by hijab, we might one day get 5 million Americans to march the streets of America as we the people to take back our freedom. It is very much doable, but it takes work. You need to stop being shy. You need to stop worrying about who's going to think what about you. Because a very, very, very dear friend of mine once said, I want to make sure when my grandkids ask me, what did you do to stop it, I can tell them I did something. Even if I didn't win, but I want to make sure I can look them in the eye and say, I did what I could. That's all you need to care for, your next generation. Because trust me, we're not gonna pay the price, they will. As I said, I was born after the revolution, and I paid a much higher price than my mom or grandmother or anyone before them. With that being said, I am hopeful that everybody in this room is gonna go and carry all these information with them and start talking to other people. Thankfully, we still have enough freedom for now to talk. They're not gonna arrest you, they're not gonna put you in prison, they're not gonna kill you for now. Because we need to do this. I personally don't wanna go back to that life. I won't. But I need help. I need to be louder. Find us on our social networks, our website. Mine is liveuptofreedom.com. I put the rescue cases of stories in there. I put the status of what is going on with women under Islam in America, in Canada, in Iran, anywhere. And I put a lot of Islamic educational videos where I bring verses and hadith and talk about all of that. Get those messages out there. And it's okay if a couple of people are going to unfriend you. It's okay. One day they will come back and thank you for saving this country. With that being said, I think my time is up. I will be back later afternoon to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you so much.